Podnominał cast. Lek na kolarski ból dupy. Dawkowanie. Raz na jakiś czas. Tematyka. Rowery, bajery, ogóry, grand tury, waty, laktaty. W razie wątpliwości skonsultuj się ze swoim influencerem lub cyklomejwenem. Słuchasz na własną odpowiedzialność.
Okay, so it's us again, and as it's the medicine for the cycling butt hurt, it has to be administered by a qualified personnel. That would be me, the pseudo professor of cycling, self-proclaimed pseudo professor, and with me, for the first time, the current world record holder, the Bannister of track cycling, Ashton Lambie. Hello.
How's it?
Oh, I just lost you, Ashton, but you're back here with us. So I said for the first time, but it's of course the second time. But you were not the current world record holder, because we had a chat before your sub 4 minute attempt.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. So you are back. So Ashton, 3:59 Bannister of cycling. But now you're moving on to the Worlds, so you're preparing for Paris. Not Paris, for Roubaix. I said Paris because, of course, Paris-Roubaix. But you are preparing for the Worlds, and as far as I know, they will be held not on that most iconic velodrome in Roubaix, but just on hopefully an indoor one where you can get some, decent times. Is that the case?
I hope. I don't want to race outside in November. In France.
in northern France, because southern France wouldn't be that bad. So I want to talk to you about the Worlds, but not those Worlds really. UCI said that they are looking into organizing snow bike world championships, whatever that is, in the future, but they said that next year they will start with a series of World Cups and the World Championships for gravel. So as you are the man who does track and gravel, I'm sure that makes you very, very happy, because in Poland everybody told me it's good because the discipline is growing and it's showing that gravel is going places. So is that the case? Are you thrilled, looking forward to the World Championships in gravel, UCI ones, of course?
I wouldn't say I'm thrilled. For gravel in the US, it has like a real grassroots feel, where I think the reason people started going to gravel and the reason a lot of people gravitate towards it is that it is a little bit less organized. And that has good things and bad things, part of the benefit of gravel is that I get to line up next to people who I would never get to see at a track World Cup. And, that level of accessibility is, I think, something that, really draws people to gravel, where it's super inclusive and everyone gets to do the exact same race. Whether you're out there for 5 hours, 8 hours, or 10 hours, you all get to do the same race. You get to line up next to the same people. You do the same course. I think that's awesome. There are definitely parts of it that are a little bit dangerous. At the beginning of the race, if you're in a big group and some people, maybe that's their first time in a big group. And if people are really full gas racing, that can be a little bit dangerous. But I think most of the time people sort of respect that as hey, we're all in this together. Let's everyone try to be safe and not ride outside of your limits, but also have a good time and get more people riding bikes. I think that's what everyone wants. And I guess my big hope is that the UCI doesn't put a bunch of rules and restrictions that kind of make gravel less fun. Because there are a lot of things about gravel that people really like that are the same thing that local track races have. I don't think most people want to go to a track. Most people that want to race track don't want to go race at a track World Cup. It's stressful. It's not very much fun. There's a lot of restrictions. You got to put your bike in the jig and deal with all that shenanigans. And it does make for a level playing field, but it also makes for a boring and stressful experience as an athlete. So I think it's going to be a hard balance. I know the UCI hasn't come out with a lot of specifics of what their World Cup season is going to look like. But I think everyone in the US especially is sort of hey, we've got this really good thing going on. we don't need more organization. Like, that's the whole reason gravel started, is because there was too much organization in road racing, and people were like, let's just go have fun and ride bikes. And you know, that's sort of the main ethos of it, is that like people generally want fewer rules and more fun on bikes.
Oh, that sounds horrible. I'm sure for UCI, they hate fun. Fun is not their specialty. So, and if you were to, because I know that you have Gravel Worlds, and it's not a UCI Worlds, but is there a case of you also get a rainbow jersey, but it's like a upside down rainbow jersey?
Yeah, and so that's a race from my hometown that's been going on for several years now. I think I've only podiumed once, but I've done it several times, and it's an absolute blast. Like, it's right in the Midwest, like, which is kind of the birthplace of gravel. You know, the checkpoints are like, I remember one of the checkpoints one year was like the organizer's mom, and like you could stop there and get chili that she cooked, and you're just like, you're not going to get that at a UCI race, you know? Like, there's going to be rules about feed zones, and like there's probably not going to be homemade chili at those feed zones. So like, you know, that's, for me, that's kind of like the spirit of gravel, is that sort of like grassroots, like getting the town involved, and not just being like, oh, here's this thing that you guys have to do, and like there's all these rules you have to follow to host this event, you know. Like, let the town make it what they want to, and like let the town and the people that are involved in the race make it what they want to. Like, I think that's more exciting.
And in terms of, because you say regulations, because the interesting part for me would be bicycles. So at the moment, if you have those gravel events, like high-level gravel events in US, do you have like regulations, or it has to be a drop bar bike with the thickness of tires not exceeding X millimeters, or whatever you do, people their inches, I would imagine. So are there those limitations, or you can just turn up on a horizontal bike and just, you know, if you feel comfortable on it, just compete?
Yeah, you could turn up on whatever bike you want. And there have been talks like, you know, there's a lot of like high profile gravel racers that are like, oh, if you run aero bars, like, you're a cheat. Or, you know, oh, hey, like, run aero bars if you want. Like, that's been a big debate for several years. But no one's made rules, because I think sort of the thing that the community has agreed upon is that like sort of a self-policing, like the number one rule in gravel is just like, don't be mean. Like, so if you're just going to use aero bars and just pummel everyone, like, I don't think anyone likes that.
Yeah.
Or if you use aero bars and you're handling like very poorly and you're crashing people out in the pack constantly, like, you're going to get scolded. You're going to get, and you know, you'll probably just stop doing that. Like, don't be a dick.
That sounds like a good rule that we could all follow.
Yeah, that's the Gravel World Championships. That's been their number one rule for years. It's just, don't be a dick.
Nice.
Don't be mean. Don't litter. Don't crash people out. Don't yell at people in line. Don't attack someone through a feed zone. Like, you know, just like basic stuff like that.
Yeah, so that, you know, that sounds. I'm just looking forward to that clash, because let's face it, at the moment, as you say, you pick the bike, and of course it's not a case. Okay, apart from aero bars, you still picking the right bike, I would imagine, is part of the competition, because it's not as easy as, oh, I'll just take a drop bar and I'll be faster, because there might be some rough gravel where you might even turn up on a mountain bike, or you might turn up on a CX bike if it's a lighter kind of version. So that gives you, that kind of extends that preparation, or even the competition starts before the competition, because you have to make like a right choice. But when you look at UCI, where they have like the limits on tire width and CX, and they have that, you know, whoever is 1.90 m can have 5 cm extra on the extensions for time trials, and so on and so on. I've got this strange feeling that UCI will push it towards certain companies, brands making certain gear, so that, you know, so then the gravel bike will basically become a beefed up CX bike. So you'll have to have drop bars, you will have to have tires between 35 and 50 millimeters, and they will have to be between 27 and a half and 29 inches. So they will, you know, they will and then they will of course police it horribly with like some gravel jigs and things like that, because I can't see another way. I can't see that they will say, yeah, just have fun. You know, that's not what the UCI does.
And yeah, it's true. That's not what they do. And it's tricky because, like, I think a majority of people at gravel races will just be like, yeah, I don't want to deal with that shit. Like, I just want to ride my bike. I don't want to have to deal with putting it in a jig or making sure my handlebars are UCI approved. And they just won't go do those races.
So I think that there might be a bit of a divide, like in UK time trialing scene. I know that you might know something about it because you work with British guys. So they have the CTT and the BC. So the CTT rules are different. You don't have those extension limits. You can have like crazy praying mantis positions and so on.
Yeah, I think it'll probably, I don't know if it'll be that extreme, but I think it could be something similar.
So I think, well, do you feel that there might be like a divide you will get ex-pros and people who are used to the, you know, UCI harshing their buzz, and they will just do the UCI races, the World Cup. So those guys who used to ride, you know, pro peloton, and now they are racing those gravel races, and still you will have those kind of world championships with the upside down rainbow and people just enjoying themselves and just having their own alternative calendar. Or do you think that it's all going to just become a, you know, a UCI run show?
No, I don't think it'll be entirely a UCI run show. Like, I think races like Unbound and Mid-South and Gravel Worlds, like, I think all of those have a really strong sense of community. And I think even with the UCI trying to come in and like push their way into this thing, like, I do think it has an opportunity to bring gravel international on a bigger level. But I don't think it's going to change like the grassroots American gravel scene that much. I think people are really protective of it. People are really supportive of it. It's awesome. And people don't really want to see it change. Like, if you bring, you know, a World Cup gravel race to Arkansas and you have to have a UCI license to race it, and the gravel community decides that, like, that's a crappy thing and they don't really like it, you're probably not going to get a ton of Americans that show up. Or you'll get, like, you know, UCI World Tour roadies that show up, which is fine. Like, it's a different thing from grassroots gravel.
And are you looking forward to, or not maybe looking forward, but are you considering taking part in the Worlds once, or do you have to wait to see the rules and regulations and then you'll make your decision?
Right now, I would definitely probably say no, that I do not want to race a UCI Gravel World Cup. Like, I like the grassroots gravel. I think it's awesome, and whatever I can do to support that is great. So I think if the UCI tries to, you know, build something where it's like, hey, we're just going to do our same World Cup and we're going to have regulations upon regulations on gravel, like, no, I do not want to do that 100%.
So it means that you'll be sticking with the track when it comes to UCI and sticking with fun and not being a dick when it comes to gravel.
I will always stick to not being a dick when it comes to gravel. Yes.
Nice. Good to hear that. So now, rule number one, yeah. So I have to ask you in terms of Roubaix. So are you looking at both the individual and team pursuit, or is it going to be only individual or only team? What are the plans for you and Roubaix?
Just individual pursuit. We don't have a team pursuit going.
Okay, see. So basically, we will find out the answer on Ghana or Lambie, because I asked you that last time in Mexico. So now that the answer. Although Ghana posted recently after his mixed the time trial, he posted his best 20-minute power, which was, I think, 497 watts. So like a screenshot from his training peaks. So Training Peaks wept once it saw those values. I wonder, because in Training Peaks you have those bars that shows you if you're like world level, second cut, first cut, very good. I think that there's like a Ghana level, and you have like that 500 watts for 20 minutes. That has to be somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And as I have you here, I will also ask you, because Joss Loudon is, I say attempting, let's face it, smashing the world, our record female, on the 30th of September. And as you are relatively close to the UK brigade, did you kind of think about, what might be the distance that she's gonna cover? Do you have any kind of like inside bets or any kind of views on that? Will she break 49, for example, or how much will she exceed the record by?
Ooh, I have no idea. Honestly, I haven't asked Dan about it that much. I think she'll break it. But yeah, I think you're right. It's a question of how much she'll break it by. I have no idea.
Okay, so I'm gonna say 49.1. So that's gonna be so over a kilometer. That would be be something on sea level compared to Aqua's. Pushing it closer and closer to that magical 50-kilometer barrier.
Oh yeah.
So Ashton, I won't hold you up, because I know that you've been riding around your RV, because I heard that now you moved full time to the RV. I hope that you are having fun, not being a dick, and that we'll see you in the final, at least in the final of the individual pursuit in Roubaix next month.
That sounds like a great plan. Yeah, I'm excited too, man.
Thanks for that, and as I say, have fun and talk to you soon. Bye.
Sounds good. We'll see you, Peter. Bye.
Podnominał cast. Lek na kolarski ból dupy.
O Jezu, dobra, już popuszczam.